I am the PI of an SNF-funded project of a team of 3 people, Gian Andrea Nodari, Leopold Chevalier, working on central banks as agents of development between 1931 and 1971. The motivation is very simple. The idea is to look at the history of the mandates of central banks. As we know, the mandates have changed in history as they change even today. So our idea is to look at how this mandate changed during that particular period in which central banks were also promoting actively the credit policies of many different countries in many different continents. Looking at Latin America is of particular interest. Why? Because the central banks were just established in the 1920s. They had to face a Great Depression under institutional instability, a very difficult political framework, and also a lot of problems in terms of the economic crisis, but also in terms of financial underdevelopment. The idea of the project is to look back at this particular period. How did central banks take their own decisions? How was their relations with governments? We know that that can be very complicated. There is a lot of debate about central bank independence, central bank autonomy, and we would like to look at these particular relations between central banks, governments, and how they evolved in time. We know that governments were very keen to promote industrialization during that particular period, and central banks, the historiography, has not really looked into what they did to promote that industrialization. Latin America during that period had high rates of economic growth, and that came at a cost, perhaps, and that was to have very high inflation rates. So we would like to look at the relations into how central banks had to manage credit policies to meet the goals of the government, but also manage to have price stability. What we aim to look is to have a specific look at very specific case studies, looking at Argentina, Mexico, Colombia, Peru, and Chile. And the idea is to look at very different national frameworks, to look at how democracies, how autocracies, how the coups, civil wars, international wars, how did they impact activities of central banks? We look at very different kinds of sources. There are archives, there are the minutes, there are also a lot of statistical sources, and the idea is to look at many different correlations, at very different causality relations, and then to look also at very specific discourse analysis, text analysis, and to see how the different decisions were taken, and to see how central banks decided to move on to differentiate themselves from their counterparts, and how they could even cooperate at an international level. The project will last for 4 to 5 years, and the idea is to promote, to disseminate our results in international conferences, but also among the larger public. Thank you very much.